So SOPs, like I mean, a lot of all these colleges, ABC, LKI, and every other B school, they ask for sort of an SOP, but it is not exactly an SOP. Bangalore calls it an SOP, where you have to actually, write a proper SOP how business schools abroad take it. But other than that, Calcutta usually breaks it down into different questions, and you have to answer those questions. And I think Ahmedabad also does the same. So basically, how do you approach it is to just be yourself, be genuine.
If you're someone who's dreaming about entering the business school of your dreams, then I'm sure the examination called CAT is something you all have been preparing for. With the recent release of the CAT examination for 2023 results, I'm sure a lot of you must have either done really well or must have started your preparations for 24 or onwards. So today's episode is going to be super useful for all of you because I have someone here who's already done all of that and is now studying at one of the very, very popular and reputed institutes, which is the IIM Calcutta. So we're going to talk a lot about CAT. We're going to understand about the examination, how did he manage to do it, what's life after CAT, and more. Everyone, let's welcome our guest for today. It's Pranav Chaturvedi, and he is currently at IIMC. What did he score and how did he do it? Let's find out. Hi Pranav, welcome to the show.
Hi Fiona, so glad to be here.
Great. So Pranav, जैसे कि मैंने कहा, अभी obviously CAT के results भी आए हैं, and I thought before we bring in the new set of toppers from this examination, might as well speak to someone who's already done that and has also seen the side after this results, because I think ऐसे बहुत सारे लोग होंगे हमारे audience में who's watching this who might have done great in even CAT 2023, but we all know that 23 के exams के बाद now there is also a lot more that has to happen. It's not just the CAT exam. To get into these colleges, there is so many other steps after that also.
Right.
So I think कि overall this is going to be useful for everyone who's cleared 23 also to understand what happens after that and how to prepare for it.
Right.
At the same time, it's going to be useful for everyone who's preparing for 24 and after.
Right.
तो सबसे पहले आपसे मुझे जानना है कि आप हो कहाँ से? Tell me a little bit about your family, your background, and then up finally, IIMC में how's life going?
Sure. So I hail from Lucknow. So my family is a middle class family from Lucknow. My dad is a businessman. My mom's a
businessman होके middle class कैसे होते हैं?
No, that's true because
just joking.
Yeah.
Okay.
So other than that, yeah, my mother, she's a homemaker, but she also helps out my dad with all the accounting, and she keeps herself busy like that.
So is she from a finance background as well?
She's not from finance background. She's from arts background. She did her M.Com from Masters in Arts in Hindu College in Delhi.
Wow.
So, but yeah, she's like taken to this homemaker lifestyle, but she really helps out my dad also. Yeah, so I grew up and did my schooling in Lucknow. Ever since
you have siblings or you're the only child?
Yeah, I have an elder sister.
Okay.
She's 2 years elder to me, and she's married and living in London right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I did my schooling in Lucknow. I was academically I did well on all my exams.
So were you always like class में first bencher, like एकदम
first bencher? I won't say first bencher. I'm still not a first bencher, but yeah, I used to be attentive in the class.
Okay.
If the teacher's teaching, I needed to be attentive. I had that thing, the teachers need to be the knowledge that giving. That is something to be, you have to be completely attentive in the class.
But was this something that you हमेशा से ऐसे थे कि was it more like in the senior standards that you actually got more serious?
No, throughout I think I was like that. But recently, I mean, I think kids have a better attention span than we adults do, and that is showing up now in my life. Because college classes, to be attentive, sometimes it is a big challenge for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, back in the children, like when I was a kid, it was being attentive was easier
very
at that time. Yeah.
Okay, तो एक चीज मुझे बताइए before we go on to the second part of the question. स्कूल में आपने कहा कि आप बहुत अटेंटिव थे एंड दैट रियली हेल्प्स बिकॉज आगे जाके इफ यू स्टार्ट प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर कंपेरेटिव एग्जाम्स लाइक द कैट देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ अटेंशन दैट यू रियली नीड व्हाइल स्टडीइंग स्पेशली इन एग्जाम्स लाइक दिस आई फील जैसे नीट एंड जेई के जो एग्जाम्स होते हैं वो फिर भी अंडरग्रेड लेवल पे होते हैं. वी आर स्टिल यूज्ड टू आवर पेरेंट्स हर 2 घंटे में चेकिंग इन, पढ़ाई हो रहा है बच्चा, यू नो, ब्रिंगिंग इन फूड एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट. बट आई थिंक एग्जाम्स लाइक दीज जो आपके यू नो ग्रेजुएशन के बाद होते हैं, दीज आर एग्जाम्स वेयर देन यू आर लेफ्ट ऑन योर ओन, यू नो, मोस्ट केसेस. तो अटेंशन को रखना एंड यू नो दैट अटेंशन स्पैन टू होल्ड इट फॉर योर प्रिपरेशन, इट बिकम्स सुपर इम्पॉर्टेंट. तो एक चीज़ मुझे बताइए, लाइक इन स्कूल ऑल्सो, जब आप यू नो एज अ स्टूडेंट ऑल थ्रू द इयर्स, कौन सा सब्जेक्ट आपका सबसे फेवरेट रहा था, एंड डिड यू रियली ड्रीम ऑफ गोइंग टू अ बिजनेस स्कूल सिंस यू वर अ किड?
सो स्कूल में physics was my favorite subject.
Okay.
Like ever since it was introduced in 6th standard, I think. So it was my favorite subject, and that was the reason मैंने engineering भी choose किया.
Okay.
So I did well in my JEE. Got into IIT ISM
Okay.
Mechanical engineering लिया because that was the closest to physics discipline could be. So हाँ, but as it turns out, like MBA में मैं कैसे आया? I never thought I'd do an MBA. इनफैक्ट 2-3 साल पहले तक आई नेवर थॉट कि MBA मुझे करना है, बिकॉज आई हैड दिस थिंग इन माई माइंड कि यू नो कॉर्पोरेट कल्चर कैसा होता होगा. सो जब मैंने जॉब अपना ग्रेड किया, फिर आई वेंट टू वर्क इन टाटा मोटर्स, आई फाउंड आउट अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स अबाउट हाउ कॉर्पोरेट कल्चर इज, हाउ यू थिंक योर जॉब वुड बी बट इट इजंट, and how actually it is. So who are the decision makers, managers? There's you know engineering ka, if you're a graduate engineering trainee, what is expected out of, what is the career growth trajectory. So sab dekhkar I thought this is an important thing. You get to know about the different verticals of business, and even if you don't you know want to work in management, it is still, you should know some things, that the things we are taught in B schools, I don't think ki even an engineering student should know these things. I personally feel that. But again, us time pe it's not that after my job straight away I went to you know doing an MBA. I actually had this aspiration to pursue civil services.
It's very interesting since you said that. I think एक बहुत ही because I obviously speak to a lot of toppers and I've spoken to a lot of UPSC toppers also. एक बहुत ही common flow जो आजकल मैं देखती हूँ, it's always like IIT, IIM, UPSC. So ये क्या like you know आपकी colleges में ही ये discuss होना शुरू हो जाता है, or do you see your seniors while at IIM or while at IIT also preparing for UPSC? ऐसा देखा था आपने?
I mean, yeah, it's I won't say it's a coincidence कि a lot of people यही trajectory follow करते हैं. I think as you grow, first of all आपके parents का एक influence होता है कि in society का होता है कि you have to do engineering, because India में either doctor engineer, right? So once you are done with that, then you actually come to you know terms of what you good at and what do you want to do. So and 4 years at a UG college is enough for people to understand themselves, find themselves out and discover themselves and find out what they want to pursue. So us time pe I think also because of a lot of influence of your peers also factors in a lot ki you see people you know IS, IPS, UPSC exam. I mean the exam in itself is a very kind of thing ki you know it's a challenge.
Very
a lot of
challenge.
people like challenges, and people especially in elite colleges like IIT and IITs, BITS, these sort of colleges, they like challenge, like to compete.
They just like that challenge.
Yeah, so I think that is the psyche behind it. So IIMs also like IIT करके IIM करके फिर a lot of people go into it, or IIT करके then they give a UPSC attempt as I did, and then they
so you gave an attempt for that too?
Yeah, I did give attempts.
Okay, that makes sense.
So yeah,
but I think since ये attempt आपने अपनी IIM की interviews के पहले दिए होगे, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, sure.
Before you actually attempted the CAT. So do you think that this preparation also some way helped you, say at your interview stages for your IIM? Because I know like you know when the colleges make their selection, it's not just आपके score पे, it's also a lot about your profile, the kind of things you've done over the years, where have you worked, your work ex and all of that. So did you actually mention these also, and did you think that the you know even just the preparation for this very very difficult exam of India, or maybe one of the most in the world, do you think this really helped in any way for your your IIM interviews?
Yeah, big time. I'd say not only the interviews but presently the courses that we are you know undergoing in MBA. Even in those, I think.
Is it very very difficult?
The courses?
Yeah.
No, it's not. I mean, my UPSC background does help me a lot.
Because you've used to a lot. So this looks smaller.
Yeah, it does look smaller. I'm not underplaying the the efforts that others make. I mean, they don't have a background. For example, somebody who enters as an engineer or fresher, and they have to read up on stuff like macroeconomics, microeconomics, and a lot of finance related हुआ. अगर interest नहीं है आपको बस वो course credit पाने के लिए clear करना है. It can be a challenge. बट मेरे लिए यूपीएससी करके एक नॉलेज, एक ब्रॉड नॉलेज बन गया. इट्स नॉट लाइक आई हैव स्पेशलाइज इन आइदर ऑफ दीज सब्जेक्ट्स, बट स्टिल एक बेस बनने के बाद
ओवरऑल नॉलेज आ जाता है ऑन अ लॉट ऑफ टॉपिक्स.
तो इट डज हेल्प अ लॉट. एंड इंटरव्यू में काफ़ी हेल्प किया. लॉट ऑफ माई इंटरव्यूज वर आउट ऑफ करंट अफेयर्स. तो और मेरे को ये एक आदत बन गई थी कि टू रीड अ न्यूज़पेपर एवरी डे,
जो तो यूपीएससी से हो जाता है. That's great.
So काफी मुझे help दिया. So yeah, it does help a lot. I mean,
really interesting actually. What you mentioned. I think एक तो आपने जो psyche के बारे में बताया, very I think it's so relatable. It just makes sense why usually ये trajectory पे बहुत लोग आजकल चल रहे हैं, because as you mentioned, that feeling of taking up challenges is something that is in the DNA of most of the people who are in this zone, जिसकी वजह से probably this trajectory is being followed. And secondly, that you said that if during this course कहीं पे भी आपने UPSC की तैयारी अगर कर ली है, it does give you a lot of it opens you up to different subjects like economics, polity of India and all of that, जो शायद आगे जाके even with conversations and all becomes important. Because I was just having a session with one of our educators who is into VARC, and she was just saying how important communication becomes later on in your CAT phase. तो चलिए अब एग्जाम के ही बारे में भी आ जाते हैं. आई एम श्योर देयर आर लॉट ऑफ एस्पिरेंट्स जो शायद 23 के एग्जाम में they've cleared it, or there are many who are starting now for 24 or further. तो थोड़ा सा एग्जाम को ही समझते हैं. I know that the first thing when you think about the exam, we think about how difficult is it going to be. So for the audience जो अभी भी कॉलेज में है, if you can give us a little bit of an idea about how difficult is this examination, what do you think, what are the kind of things that students who maybe are in college right now, graduation कर रहे हैं, what are the things they should start practicing or start inculcating in their behavior as well as their in everyday things that they do, which is going to help them later on in this exam? What do you think?
Sure. So coming to the difficulty of this exam, I think CAT is not a difficult exam at all. I mean, it can be at times challenging, but again with perseverance you can overcome those challenges, and that is true with every other exam, but for CAT it is specifically so. तो शुरुआत करने के लिए I would say आपको सबसे पहले I think I can't overstress this, मॉक देना बहुत ज़रूरी होता है. एंड आप भले आपने कुछ प्रिपरेशन ना किया, आपने कुछ भी VARC से रिलेटेड आपको पैटर्न भी ना पता हो, ठीक है, आप यू गेट टू नो द पैटर्न, you see the number of questions that are asked, kind of questions, but give a mock to gauge yourself. तो पहले जब आप मॉक देते हो उसमें आपका स्कोर कितना भी खराब हो, नेगेटिव क्यों ना आ रहा, you understand the pattern of the exam, you know what you are good at and what you need to actually work on. And उसके बाद फिर it's just trial and error. If you have time, trial and error, or otherwise you don't have time, you can get in touch with some mentors who will let you know what works, because there's a lot of things that a lot of people do which actually gives result. So ये approach I think works for CAT, while it might not work for other exams, but CAT के लिए it does.
Okay. And any habit जो आपको लगता है अभी से as a student, while they are in their graduation also, a habit that you think every day if they start doing from now it's going to help? जैसे UPSC में बोलते हैं every morning उठ के newspaper पढ़ना, that's a good habit to build. तो what would you say CAT के लिए what's a good habit to start building?
Good habit मतलब अगर आप पढ़ भी रहे हो, VARC हो गया या quant हो गया, just time it, like use a stopwatch or something, because questions aren't that difficult. If you are given a whole day, everybody would solve it. But the challenge is in the टाइम में करना उसको. तो अगर आप कुछ भी कर रहे हो, अगर आप रोज, मैं ये नहीं कह रहा कि आप 2 घंटे या 3 घंटे पढ़ रहे हो तो पूरा टाइम करके पढ़ो, उसमें एक सेक्शन होगा, मे बी एक सेक्शनल होगा, या 5 क्वेश्चंस आपने चूज किया आज के लिए, बट उसको टाइम लगा दो, 10 मिनट्स में मुझे 5 क्वेश्चन करने, देखना है कि मैं 10 मिनट्स में कितने क्वेश्चन कर पा रहा हूँ। वो करना इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट आई थिंक, एंड वो एक मेजर है, बिकॉज यू कांट इम्प्रूव एनीथिंग दैट यू कांट मेजर। दैट इज़ अ पर्सनल फिलॉसफी दैट आई एक्चुअली फॉलो। तो अगर आपको इम्प्रूव करना है तो हाउ डू यू एक्चुअली उसको कैसे मेजर करोगे आप? ये ऐसे मेजर करोगे अगर आप एक नंबर सपोर्ट कर रहे हो। तो अगर आपने 4 क्वेश्चंस किए विद इन दिस मिनट, 5 क्वेश्चंस किए विद इन दिस मिनट, दिस इज अ पैरामीटर दैट यू नीड टू वर्क ऑन, बी इट VARC और क्वांट और DILR सेट।
Perfect. So चलिए, since you've already started mentioning the subjects, I'm assuming there might be a lot of our aspirants who are watching this and शायद उनको एग्जाम के बारे में कुछ भी ना पता हो। तो अगर हम बिल्कुल बिगिनर्स के बारे में भी सोचें, so I just want you to give us a little bit of an insight of the CAT exam. एग्जाम के क्या क्या सब्जेक्ट्स है, what's the kind of scores or what's the kind of question numbers for every section. I know there are 3, तो उस पे अगर आप just tell us a little bit about the subjects, questions in every subject, and also what's the marking scheme.
Yeah, okay. So CAT has 3 sections. The first one is VARC, verbal ability and reading comprehension. The second is DILR, data interpretation and logical reasoning, and the third is the quantitative aptitude. So the जो VARC है उसमें a lot of questions are around reading comprehension. 4 comprehensions होते हैं. It keeps on varying I think from year to year, but for past few years it has been consistent in 4 RCs. And उसके बाद there is VA, so they'll ask you questions like parajumble. So you have given a some of some sentences. You have to order them such that they form a coherent passage. And there's also conclusion based questions. There's comprehension based questions on a small paragraph that's given. उससे आप क्या infer करते हो, those sort of questions. But in the past few years I think I am Bangalore last time and this time I am Lucknow, they've been playing around with these questions which have been there for a long time. जैसे पिछले साल fill in the blanks came, which is I mean nobody would have thought कि fill in the blanks जैसे question
तो मतलब previous papers में नहीं थे?
नहीं, never. So it will be just one question just to catch people off their guard. That is what CAT tries to do with the person who is there in giving the exam. तो वो और इस साल I think there was something regarding a compulsory question. So there's no compulsory question as such ever in CAT, but this time there was.
Okay.
So,
and it had a negative marking? Theta types था या MCQ था?
No, it had negative marking if you didn't attempt it. I think that is how it was.
Okay.
I'm not really sure because I didn't give this time. But I heard that there was this question.
Okay.
So
मतलब CAT or maybe the IIMs, they do play around with the ones attempting the exam. उनको थोड़ा सा surprise डालना अच्छा लगता है. And that might vary across the slots as well. हो सकता है किसी slot में they'll ask such question and other slots में they won't ask. So you go in with your slot and you ask a friend from the other slot, okay, such question came. You might be ready for it, but then there might be some other question that you will face. Okay. So since आप VARC पे बात कर रहे हैं, I just wanted to understand because the topics you just mentioned under VARC, there are a lot of topics जो हम स्कूल में भी करते हैं, right? तो लेवल कितना ऊपर चला जाता है? Like because स्कूल में भी हम ये सब करते हैं, RCs करते हैं, parajumbles and all करते हैं, but इस एग्जाम में लेवल कितना ऊपर चला जाता है? What should the aspirants expect?
Yeah, I mean level. I'd say the level is good, but I mean it can be comprehended by each and every person who I mean आप जैसे read करते हो, books करते हो, if you are able to read the normal novels that they are, even Chetan Bhagat, he writes in plain English. If you are able to comprehend that, then these passages are not a challenge. The challenge lies in the questions. I mean, you might understand the whole passage, but then the question is such that it is more of a test of a critical reasoning sometimes.
Okay.
So
मतलब जैसे स्कूल में बहुत ही straight forward question होते थे, यहाँ पे वैसे नहीं होता है.
So you have to read in between the words, in between the lines, and sometimes the questions में जो options होंगे might be very very close, and you just have to go with your gut feel sometimes. So मेरे साथ भी होता था. Anybody who would ask me, so I was really good at VRC from start. Okay. And not a place that I had to really work a lot on.
So एक चीज मुझे बताइए, because since you just mentioned that I was good in VRC from the start, I just wanted to, and I'm assuming you were from an English background school, right?
Yeah.
तो मैं सिर्फ ये समझना चाह रही हूँ कि अगर कोई से हिंदी मीडियम या कोई और मीडियम स्कूल से एजुकेशन लिया हुआ है, do you think that आगे जाके उनको VARC में बहुत डिफिकल्टी हो सकती है?
I mean, it can be a challenge. I'll be frank. It can be a challenge, but it's not impossible because I've seen people who come from Hindi medium schools and have made it to colleges like IMABC, Blackie, and have scored reasonably well also.
Okay.
So I think then you need to catch the nerves of the paper, understand what is about. Again, there have been people that I have thought ki, they are really good at English, and they are. And they read up a lot and everything, but still they are not able to maybe catch the nerve of the paper.
So they don't end up doing as well as expected.
Yeah.
Cool. तो एक चीज मुझे बताइए, which is before going to the other sections, I just wanted to ask. मुझे पता है कि CAT का जो एग्जाम है, there is no predefined syllabus by IIMs, right?
Yeah.
कोई predefined नहीं है syllabus. तो इस syllabus को, CAT के syllabus को decode कैसे करते हैं? How do we decide what exactly has to be studied? And आपने कैसे किया था? What were the resources you used? Let's talk about VRC first.
I mean, syllabus is there. For VRC it isn't there, but for quant and DILR, but these are just topics like vague words.
Yeah, like geometry, arithmetic.
Yeah.
इसके अंदर क्या पढ़ना है वो नहीं पता.
Exactly, you don't know exactly what questions might किस concepts के around होगा.
जी.
But looking at the previous year papers gives you an idea. Also enrolling with a lot of coaching institutes, they give you a lot of material. That these are the questions that they have been asking these concepts. So preparation इसके लिए is just like reading upon a good material from any good coaching, then trying a lot of mocks and trying the previous year's question papers. So that should suffice. But then again, there might be some challenges thrown at you in the CAT exam. Not in DILR and quant, because udhar they don't play around with concepts. They don't out of nowhere give you a trigonometry question. They'll rather
maybe make the arithmetic question a little more difficult.
Yeah. For example, this time I heard quant mein questions weren't difficult, but they played a lot around with the nomenclature of the question. Like for example, if they had to ask Pythagoras theorem ke aaspas question, so they named it something else, and people just
to get them confused.
Nice. So that is how they played, but they didn't change the syllabus or didn't go out of the scope of the syllabus.
Interesting. So ये तो VRC थी. Let's move on to the next section. Which one would you want to tell us about?
Yeah. So after VRC, so DILR, I think because
order में भी यही आता है, right?
Yeah, order में भी यही आता है.
Okay.
Because VRC was my strength, but DILR was my weakness.
Okay, चलिए weakness पे तो ज़्यादा important है बात करना. Let's talk about DILR.
Yeah. So again, DILR, you don't have any. Again, you might have a syllabus. You might have some words कि ये cubes हो गया या number-based questions हो गए. I don't exactly remember the nomenclature that you used in the syllabus. But when you try to prepare for it, you don't actually have a reading material. You just have to practice a lot of sets, and when you practice a lot of sets, you come to know about what your strengths are. So last time around when I gave CAT, I even missed that 80 percentile mark. So though my percentile was good enough, but all these IIMs, ABC and Blackie, they require at least 80 percentile in each section.
Okay.
So I missed it by I got 79.6 or something.
In DILR.
Okay. And then I thought this is something that I really want to work upon.
I think आपने बहुत ही important ये बात बताई, because that's again one of our educators, Shabana ma'am, she was telling me that one of the things she suggests her learners to do a lot is to after the exam that is done, to try to analyze it and then even accept कि आपकी गलती हुई, कहीं तो हुई होगी. And if you don't accept that mistake, you won't be able to rectify it. तो accept कर लो, rectify करो, and then you will definitely have success, like we see. Okay, yes.
So so giving a lot of sets, like giving a lot of mocks and sectional exams of DILR really helped me a lot. In शुरुआत में, and the graph is not like तुम करोगे और ऐसे चलता जाएगा. It is like this, and it goes like this. You score really badly sometimes, but then consistency के साथ eventually you identify a pattern, identify your own strengths. So that is where it helped me. I think I was really good at questions that were centered around sports and had a lot of numbers, like trial and error method with numbers, not the number crunching ones जिसमें calculation based बहुत होता है, DI is such. तो उस type of questions I thought कि this is something that I should. And again, this is very important because to know your strengths, because finally in the DILR exam, you have to quickly scroll through the questions and quickly decide on which questions are you going to attempt.
Because that's another important thing. I think a lot of people say कि पूरा सारे questions attempt नहीं करने हैं. You need to be very careful because there's also negative marking, right?
I mean, CAT purposely does this, that they'll drop in a question which is in our lingo it is called speed breaker.
Okay.
So they'll purposely put such questions
get you stuck. So if somebody is build momentum, because questions are jumbled, right? There's not sequence. So हो सकता है किसी के शुरुआत के questions easy हो. If they are going with a top down approach तो उनको खुशी जा रहे हैं, suddenly speed breaker.
वो momentum को तोड़ने की कोशिश करेंगे आपके throughout the पूरा जो section है. So you need to recognize कि ये particular question is basically put by CAT here to break my speed. I don't have to stop here. I have to actually
ego पे नहीं लेना,
आगे बढ़ना है. So उसको recognize करने में, उसको identify करने में, ये आपका जो knowing your own strengths, which are the sections, which are the particular kind of topics that you are good at, it really helps. And it helped me actually in my exam. I was really fortunate enough to actually pick up the questions that
which were speed breakers for you.
Which were speed breakers, and pick up those questions which were my strength.
Got it.
And there was also again a challenge put by CAT. DI ka question, they didn't have any DI question.
Oh, so, in your attempt?
In my attempt. And DI questions, if you don't know any set, then DI is a safe option, because though there's some number crunching, you'll arrive at the answer finally. You might put 2-3 minutes extra, but you'll find. But that wasn't there. So, I mean, luckily
काफी difficult रहा होगा आपका slot then. At least for the DILR section.
Yeah, it was.
Especially if that was your weakness.
Yeah, and the scores are scaled up for that matter, for that reason. And but yeah, finally I was really glad and happy with the way I approached the exam.
तो final जो attempt जिसमें आपको success मिली थी, आपको DILR में कितना आया था?
So the percentile was 98.8.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I know before that you said it was under 80. So you really pushed this bar this time. Great. तो एक चीज़ हमें बताइए, जैसे कि आपने VRC में बताया था कि most of the things is coaching से you got the material and all of that. DILR के लिए क्या किया था आपने? Any specific books or resources that you used, or most of coaching material?
Coaching material, but not like the books, booklets, वो सब नहीं. Mostly the sets, and ये online आपको various coaching institutes के
तो कोई specific books आपने नहीं follow किया था?
Specific books नहीं.
Practice के लिए mainly mocks and institute के जो notes.
हाँ, मतलब sectional exams, and there's test gyms. A lot of these coaching institutes provide test gyms where they have a lot of 500 sets around होते हैं. I wasn't able to do all the 500 sets because time wouldn't allow.
But फिर भी जैसे कि like say if it's someone who's an art student, तो उसके लिए even like say अगर geometry के ही topics है, they will also still need to go back to some basic books to understand the fundamentals ना. उस पे any suggestions?
Yeah, for quant I had. For quant के लिए this book by.
कौन पे आएगी अभी? DILR पे कुछ था ऐसे extra?
DILR के लिए, I mean there are books, and a lot of people say that this book is really helpful. The book by Mr. Arun Sharma sir, that is one book that goes around the market, is very popular. But for me, I understood that since I had just 3 months, like I really got into it 3 months पहले only before the exam. I thought कि ठीक है, this is something that I have to work upon, and I think this is the way that it will
work for me in this limited time.
Yeah. So because in the previous attempts I had tried to go by some reading material. But again, it's just about knowing yourself, knowing where your personal preference, and also knowing the weakness, जो आपकी weakness है, उस पे कैसे work होगा.
Got it.
So it is not about like concepts मुझे आते थे. You need to be really well versed with the concepts. हाँ, उधर आपको books help करेंगी, because if you are not knowing the concepts only, then it is no use कि आप mocks दे रहे हो, कुछ दे रहे हो. But concepts एक बार clear है, फिर आपके score नहीं आ रहा, so then there's something that you're missing, and that comes out only if you give a lot of mocks and you identify it.
Got it. So चलिए, let's move to the last section, which is quants. Quants के बारे में you were also telling some books that you referred to. So everything about quants.
Yeah. So quants के लिए again it was a section that I was not really bad at and not really good at, because in like engineering background का था, so a lot of people have this think engineer है, quant तो कर लेगा,
easy होना चाहिए.
But for me it was not like that. So फिर मैंने क्या किया कि I had this book by Mr. Arun Sharma, and उसको मैंने religiously follow किया in my first attempt. It did help me, but this time what I did was just give a lot of mocks again, and again this test gym provider certain coaching institutes जिसमें 15 minutes में you have a particular set of questions. उसको बार attempt करना, भले I know कि ठीक है मतलब ये repetitive हो रहा है, but just trying to reduce my time, identifying questions. अगर आप question देख के आपको ये एकदम तुरंत पता चल गया this is a 1 minute question, that helps a lot because आप scroll कर रहे होते हैं. If you can identify 5 to 6 questions which are 1 minute questions, 5 minutes में आपके 5-6 मिनट में आपके एक वो सारे हो गए, तो तीन करके, so it gives you such a psychological break, psychological boost कि even if there's a difficult questions, even if you fall prey to those speed bump breakers that are there in the CAT exam, you won't get affected a lot. तो वो आपको help करता है. So yeah, you have a first iteration where you go over all these questions,
try to find your 1 minuters.
Then you go to a second iteration where you know the answer, you know how you can do this, but it might take a lot of time. So you do those. तो ये सब identify करने के लिए you have to create that simulation at your home also, where you are preparing कि आप एक timed manner में questions attempt करो, भले वो 15 minutes के हो 10 minutes के, but करो, daily करो, उससे आपका ये mindset और ये muscle memory create हो जाएगी. तो that is very important, I think.
Great. तो ये तो तीनों ही सब्जेक्ट्स के बारे में आपने बता दिया. I just wanted to put across a note, अगर आप में से कोई ऐसे भी है जो शायद अभी just CAT के बारे में information gather कर रहे हैं, then just as he mentioned, he's obviously given more than one attempt. Similarly, आप भी जितने attempts देना चाहो आप दे सकते हैं for your CAT. Just to remember, your score is valid for 1 year, right?
Yeah.
So 1 year की validity रहती है on the score that you get for that year, but there is no upper cap on age, so you can keep trying whenever you want. चलिए, so ये तो तीनों आपने हमें सब्जेक्ट्स के बारे में बता दिया. We also got a little bit idea about the exam, उसकी marking scheme. थोड़ा सा questions के बारे में बात करते हैं. I know there are 2 types of questions जो in subjects के अंदर आते भी है. We have the MCQs and the TETAs. तो थोड़ा सा if you can give us an information for all our learners, what are the 2 types of questions?
Okay, so there are 2 types of questions, and one is MCQ, where there's only single correct, and there's theta questions. So you get marked negatively for if you attempt wrongly the MCQ question, but for theta you don't have any negative marking. So, and most of the time the theta questions answers are single digit, 0 to 9. Sometimes it might be in decimals also, but they'll mention it in the question, as I think, or they'll say that you might round it up to the nearest integer. And yeah, that is it about the questions. But
okay, so theta questions का +3 नहीं होता है?
होता है +3 -0, like this 0. Plus either it's +3 or 0.
Okay.
But for other questions, -3, +3, -1.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So anything that especially like exam day के लिए, if अगर आपको suggest करना हो to the other aspirants for this exam, कि while attempting the paper, or say before attempting the paper, before going into that examination, anything that you think everyone should keep in mind, some tips that they should follow. आपने क्या किया था on the day before your exam, also on night before your exam, what were you doing, how did you prepare your mind, and अंदर जाकर exam day पे if there are some tips you want to share, what are the things they should keep in mind?
Okay, I think there's a lot of different kind of approaches different people take, but for me I think I'd say कि एक momentum build करके जाना exam hall में is very important. And 15 days prior to my actual exam, I started this. I gave a mock every day. Just wouldn't study whole day. Would go out with friends or play a sport or something. But I ensured that I did give a mock every day and analyzed it. So 15 days के लिए straight I did it. And it is not advisable कि आप आखिरी दिन just before, कल आपका एग्जाम है तो आज भी आप कोई मॉक दो. Mostly you are just expected to relax, और इवन अगर कोई फॉर्मूलाज है जो you need to you keep on forgetting, वो याद कर लो या देख लो शीट, तो वो कर. बट मैंने मॉक उस दिन भी मॉक दिया था.
Okay, but अभी आप सजेस्ट नहीं करोगे ये?
I wouldn't suggest. I wouldn't suggest. It was just I felt कि ठीक है दे देते, but I wouldn't suggest that. So that what that does is that it builds a momentum and builds that confidence. ठीक है कि I've gotten into that mindset and I have a strategy with me going into the exam hall. So that builds up a confidence in you. Though that strategy might not work when the throw such questions या ऐसा कुछ डाल देते हैं वो, तो sometimes you are not able to adhere to that strategy. But going into that exam hall with the confidence, it does help a lot.
Got it.
So yeah, that was something I would suggest to everybody.
So or exam day pe anything like as soon as the paper comes, any word of advice जो आप सारे aspirants को देना चाहते हो, या something that happened with you on that exam day?
Okay, so yeah, I think I have something for this. VA से शुरू होता है, so you need to again शुरुआत में you're just reading up the question on the screen, and there's an inertia with you कि आप सुबह आए हो एकदम शांत मन से आए हो, बट हो सकता है आप लाइन रीड कर, मॉर्निंग स्लॉट था, और हो सकता है आपको ब्रेन तुरंत काम करना, फंक्शन करना ना स्टार्ट करे. स्टार्ट विद द इजियर क्वेश्चन. तो जैसे मेरे सामने पहला पैराग्राफ वाज अ बिट अराउंड फिलोसफी आई थिंक, एंड इट वाज नॉट रियली गेटिंग इनटू माय हेड, सो आई स्किप्ड दैट. आई केम टू अ नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, वो थोड़ा इजियर था. आई थिंक इट वाज समथिंग about something very easy, kind of relatable kind of topic it was.
That makes your brain start working again.
Yeah, it stimulates your brain and you start functioning. तो उससे क्या होता है कि you don't lose out on time, and वो eases up your nerves as well.
True.
So that is something I would suggest कि हाँ आप जाओ तो शुरुआत एकदम डिफिकल्ट से नहीं करनी है, ईगो को नहीं लेना है, आप स्किप करके पहले इजी क्वेश्चंस करो ताकि आप एक मोमेंटम बन जाए.
ग्रेट. आई थिंक दैट वाज अ वेरी गुड पॉइंट कि जैसे ही आप शुरू करते हो यू आर इन दैट इनर्शिया, थोड़ा सा ब्लैंक रहता है सब कुछ, इवन दो यू नो एवरीथिंग, इट्स अ लिटिल ब्लैंक ट्राइंग टू जस्ट ब्रिंग बैक एवरीथिंग. सो आई थिंक इट्स समथिंग गुड दैट ही जस्ट मेंशन्ड आल्सो कि ट्राई टू जस्ट स्किप टू अ फ्यू easier ones, do a few of that, more like a warm up, and then सब कुछ वापस याद आने लगेगा, then you can quickly go on with all the others. Great. So ये was obviously about all the the subjects, the how to prepare for it on the exam day and all of that. Now for as we know the results have come, there will be a lot of things that happens after the result, right? तो थोड़ा सा अगर आप हमें information दे पाओ, right after this अब calls आना शुरू हो गए, right, based on your score. So what is the process, calls आना कब शुरू होते हैं, how do the calls start coming, and obviously जब आप CAT का फॉर्म भरते हो उसमें you put in IIM की applications also. How do you start putting applications for the other exam or for the other colleges, as well as prepare for some of the other exams like ZAT बाद में होता है, right? Exactly. So ये पूरा process कैसे चलता है after the score?
Okay, so once the result is out, usually it is out in the first week of January, but इस बार शायद पहले आ गया, and I think last time also it came earlier only. And within 2 weeks the calls start coming in.
Okay.
A शायद सबसे पहले निकालता है, then B, C and all other Blackie, Lucknow, Indore. So
when you say calls आना शुरू होते हैं, you actually get a call, or is it announced on the?
No, it's a mail.
Oh, okay.
That you receive, but they also have their own portal where they publish this result. You log into it.
Because it's interesting, because इसके पहले मैं हमेशा यही सोचती थी, oh I got a call. So I was thinking, is it like actual calls जाते हैं, or is it on the bulletin board? Okay, so you get emails on that.
Yeah, you get emails, and then they schedule your interview and whatever so there's not directly an interview, there's a GD and a VAT and an interview.
तो इसके बारे में भी अगर आप थोड़ा बता दो, each of the things that you mentioned.
So post pandemic, I think a lot of IIMs have done away with the GD part. I think Shillong does it still, and SP Jain does it still.
Okay.
But VAT is a written ability test. तो वो और interview mostly happens on the same day.
तो क्या होता है VAT में?
VAT में you are basically given a topic, so you have to write an essay over it.
Okay.
So it tests
your
एक ही essay. It might be something like the economic situation of India, NPAs, might be finance based, might be social issue based, can be anything. It can be about yourself, what you do in SP Jain में मुझसे पूछा था कि describe a typical day that you have.
Okay. When that's part of the WAT.
Yeah, that's still a part of.
और ये कितना time का होता है, and what's the weightage in your overall?
So the weightage varies across all the IIMs and all the B schools. And for that matter, even the weightage for CAT and interview varies. For example, for Calcutta, I think it is not more inclined towards the score, CAT score. So 50% weightage, I think, for the CAT score, 15 to 20 for VAT, and the rest is for your academics and your work
Overall
experience.
profile.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and it again for Indore and Bangalore, it is more for the academics, what you've already done in your undergrad and past. So we have a saying in Calcutta. So Ahmedabad, Indore, or Bangalore might look at your past while we look at your potential.
That's
because
great.
they give such a weightage to CAT.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, so it varies across colleges. But they do have this VAT. Every college has this VAT examination. And
so as you mentioned, basically IMA gives more weightage to your past also.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it does.
ज़्यादा weightage उस पे होता है.
उस पे होता है. I mean, you also have to ace your CAT, but you need to have ticks in all your boxes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So A में again VAT की जगह they have a different test called analytical writing test, AWT.
Okay.
And it is a bit different. It is not on subjects, topics. ऐसे topics पे
basically you have to write an essay.
Write an essay, but basically it is more situation based. So you'll be given a situation, and you'll be asked to write what would you do in a situation. What are the?
So it's more like UPSC ka ethics.
Yeah, I would say. Okay. Though they are not just testing you on your ethics.
No, but it's more like this. There's a story.
Yeah.
It's more like there's a story, and
there's
then you give your angle to it, or your suggestions or your viewpoints.
Exactly.
They're trying to understand how would you deal with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. तो एक और पार्ट जो रह गया था was the PI, which is actually the most important, right? उसके लिए ही उसको build करने में बहुत लोग बहुत practice करते हैं. तो आपने कैसे prepare किया था? And maybe through your preparations, if you can give some tips to the others कि अपने PI के लिए वो कैसे prepare कर सकते हैं?
Okay. Again, PI is you need a lot of practice, and first of all, you need to know your profile inside out. अगर कुछ for me it was like academically I had been nice. I'd been UG में भी अच्छा score था. Dedicated. So every box was ticking, but again there was a slight this gap I had in my profile because of UPSC. A lot of people said that you can fill it with ऐसे बोल के वो बोल के ये बोल के. I thought no, this is something.
You need to be genuine.
I need to be genuine because again others might see it as a a gap in my profile, but I see it as a strength because again मेरा perspective बड़ा from that exam. And
True.
that
I think that's a very good thing that you said because ये मैंने बहुत लोगों से भी सुना है, a lot of toppers, a lot of officers, as well as a lot of faculty who say that UPSC की जो तैयारी करता है, even if you don't really crack the exam, you're a different person after it.
Yeah, exactly. So so I became a very well-read person. I thought if I say that in my interview, they might throw questions from UPSC, and since I've prepared for it, I might be able to answer it.
It's not that you were lying.
Yeah, so that will really play into my hands. So why not? So in every okay, for the practice, what I did was a lot of people enroll into mock interviews. What I did was that I filled up the application for every college.
Okay.
Every college. I knew
सबके interviews बैठने ही पड़ेगी.
हाँ, I knew कि ठीक है 99.73 आया तो black में तो कोई college मिल जाएगा. But still, I appeared for IIM Visakhapatnam, CAP, all the new IIMs, MDI, FMS, XLRI also I really got a percentile around 99.5.
Nice.
So appeared for that also. So in all, I think I gave around 15 to 16 interviews for all the colleges, and that before ABC या LKI के interviews आते, all these interviews were done, and they
became like your mock interviews.
And
okay.
I knew okay ठीक है, so this is कुछ के results भी आ गए थे, so I knew कि this way of approaching my interviews is actually working for me. So that is how I approached and I would say कि हाँ, everyone should try doing that because क्योंकि mock interviews में somewhere you have it in your mind कि ठीक है mock है, I might but when you are actually into an interview, when where's the person sitting in front of you is a professor and he's like trying to look into your thinking process, then your genuine self comes out.
True.
So that is I
think that's a very good point that you said कि actually अगर ये situation जैसे कि इन्होंने किया था, अगर आप ये करते हो, when you're going in, it's not a mock. So although mock interviews are also very much suggested by many people because actually बहुत लोगों की help भी होती है because ones who are a little unsure of speaking publicly or communications में issue है, then the more that you attend these mock interviews becomes easier. But I think फिर भी in the back of your mind it's a mock. when you're entering for it. So I think that's a very good way that you played it. Although अगर उसमें भी समझे तो IIMs के पहले आपने 15-16 दे दिया था. So that's like your mocks only. मगर उसके पहले जो actual exam के लिए mocks that you were talking about also कितने दिए होगे आपने शायद total में?
Exam के लिए like I had a number in my mind. I'll give 40 mocks.
Okay.
But I think I was able to give 43, 44.
ऐसा क्यों? 40? What's with 40?
I don't know, just a number that was in my head. I think the thought कि पिछली बार I just gave 20 or maybe you know.
अच्छा 20 कुछ दिया था, under
80
आया था तो double देता हूँ तो 5 तो हो जाए.
And other than I didn't have anything else to do. I mean सारे concepts पढ़े हुए थे. I didn't have to take a lot of time to brush them up. So I had that much more time with me so that I could give these mocks and उनको analyze करना. I think
Great.
That is why.
So I think that is for everyone who's watching and maybe the new ones who are preparing for it. That is basically the general funda इस exam के लिए भी. पहले अपने basics को clear करो, फिर concepts को strong करो और फिर mocks देते रहो. That's all that you need to do in this exam, right? Got it. So अभी आपने हमें अपनी interview के बारे में भी बता दिया. We also got to know a little bit about how you need to work around all of this. एक important part जो रह जाता है which is the SOP. I think a lot of people also get very worried with this कि उसमें लिखना क्या है, क्या लिखूँ, क्या ना डालूँ, because that's also very very important, right? तो उसके लिए आपने क्या किया था and आपके experience के through if you can share 1 or 2 pointers that others can also use.
So SOPs like I mean a lot of all these colleges, ABC, LKI and every other B school, they ask for sort of an SOP, but it is not exactly an SOP. Bangalore calls it an SOP, where you have to actually, write a proper SOP how, business schools abroad take it. But other than that, Calcutta usually breaks it down into different questions and you have to answer those questions. Okay. And I think Ahmedabad also does the same. So basically, how do you approach it is to just be yourself, be genuine. For example, if they're asking you, tell me a situation where this thing had happened and how did you manage it. So you don't have to manufacture anything. It might take something very which you think is okay, this is trivial, this is from my personal life. आपने कोई sport खेला, उसमें कुछ हुआ 4 साल 5 साल में, just take that situation. Just write what you learned from it, what happened. There's a STAR approach, situation and analysis and reaction approach जो होता है. तो आप genuine raw, don't have to manufacture anything, because then when you get asked in the interview, somewhere those professors have been taking interviews for 25 years, 30 years, they can see through if you're bluffing. So don't have to manufacture anything, just be yourself, be genuine, and that will work.
Chaliye, great. So I think this is pretty much all the exam areas that we have covered. Do you think kuch reh gaya exam area mein which still aspirants should know about?
I think we have covered
everything for exam. Chaliye, perfect. But now you're finally at IMC. So thoda sa tell me a little bit about jab IMC ka aapka interview aaya, how did that go? How was the board? What were the kind of questions you were asked? And finally, kitne din mein result aa jata hai?
Okay. So IMC was, I think, among the last interviews. It was on 28th of March, 29th March. I don't remember exactly. It's around my birthday as well.
Okay.
So
when's your birthday?
28th March.
Okay.
So by then I had appeared for Ahmedabad, Calcutta and all the major IIMs, and I was really hopeful. I was really confident regarding my IIM Bangalore interview. I thought I nailed it, and Ahmedabad went okay. XLRI went really bad, but by then I had already converted XLRI. So I thought, okay, it went bad, but still
XLRI bhi hai mere paas.
So I had a good confidence by then. And Calcutta, I just went there. Like towards the end, it was more like not much preparation, just getting ready and moving to that location and just giving your.
So, kaise type ke questions the for your interview?
Yeah, for my the panel that I had some young professors, but there was a elder professor who's faculty at my college right now, and now we know that he's somewhat of strict, but that time didn't know. So the questions were basically there's a professor who was asking me about my job experience, what I used to do, why did I leave my company, why did I pursue UPSC, what was my learnings out of it. Tried to ask me questions around current affairs as well, but then there was a section regarding entrepreneurship, which I mentioned that somewhere in the future I want to start up something of my own. So then the whole the discussion went into entrepreneurship, and they asked me around how many MBA people have you seen graduating from ABC and are
successful entrepreneurs.
Yeah, so named a few. Then they asked me about some company. Okay, you want to work into fintech. So why? What is the new company, new startup that you are really excited about? So I told them the answer. They asked me if the founder is from IIM. I said no. So they were like, okay, then why do you want to do an MBA? Okay. But I had that covered. I had everything I had thought in my mind. These questions, which are mostly kind of HR questions and kindly more on the side of my intent. Why do I want to do an MBA? I had all those covered.
Good.
So it went well.
Great. So जैसे कि UPSC में usually you fill a DAF before you go in, right? So DAF में you put in all your interest and everything. So that's how people usually prepare for the interview कि DAF को पहले cover कर लो कि जो लिखा है उसमें सारी चीजें I remember, I have something good to talk about it.
Right.
तो इसमें भी is there something like interview के पहले आपने भी कुछ pointers बना लिए थे कि that these are the things if asked these are what I will be saying. ऐसा कुछ किया था आपने?
Yeah, I had a complete sort of मेरे iPad पे I made a quick note, पूरा note about everything that has to be covered. Even I had to cover up things from my UPSC days as well. मुझे अपना पूरा optional थोड़ा सा brush up करना पड़ा. I was anthropology.
I think it's going to be very useful. आपको एक screenshot देना होगा आपकी ये iPad वाला that you're saying. We'll put it up on this video for others to also take reference.
I mean my handwriting is really bad, but whosoever it helps.
Headers मिल जाएंगे.
Yeah, sure. So मतलब I made pointers on what sort of questions can come, what they can ask me about, or if it is a stress-based interview, I think these are the points that they can really grill me on.
Okay.
So I was ready for them. I mean, you can't be completely 100% ready for everything because interview can be about anything and everything. For example, my interview in Lucknow was about my pursuit in music, and they started asking me Ahmedabad was about music, and they started asking me what kind of songs do I like, to the point that I was almost expected to sing in front of them.
Okay.
So and from there to Lucknow ka interview, they asked me about the origins of my name, Chaturvedi, what are the 4 Veds. But again,
I'm sure UPSC must have helped you in that.
Yeah, a lot.
Okay.
So yeah, I had those covered again. But again, yeah, I think somewhere you can anticipate these questions as well. If you are playing smart, you can anticipate these questions and try to cover as much as you can.
Got it.
Yeah, that is
cool. So IMC, finally you reached IMC. Now you're obviously a student there. How has life been? Was it as you had expected? And how, like, what's the everyday schedule college mein jo chalta hai?
Right. So IMC has this kind of image of being a chill B school among ABC.
Okay.
It's on the chill side, but it is not so. It is not at all chill. I mean, comparing with other IMs, I don't know. I haven't seen. It's not chill. So शुरुआत में तो it was challenging because after coming, okay, UPSC में 10 घंटे पढ़ता था, but that was on my own. मैं अपने हिसाब से पढ़ता था. नहीं मन कर रहा तो ठीक है, take a break. Here you have to again get back to the student life. सुबह उठना, classes
कितने बजे से होते हैं classes?
Some days it is 8:30 as well, but mostly classes are at 10:15. That is the leeway that we get at Calcutta.
कितने घंटों का होता है classes?
3 classes at max in the first year.
Each class
is 1.5 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, so academics के अलावा, but that is not the only part at Calcutta, because शुरुआत में when you are 2-3 months में you have to prepare for your internship as well. So October is the time when you have to be, the whole college comes together for that 1 week of internship, and उसकी preparation में a lot of months go.
तो आपकी तो हो गई है इस बार. So where was your internship?
Yeah, so my internship is at Accenture Strategy.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
And how is it going there? How difficult or
challenging? it's still to start. It's in March, mid-March to.
अच्छा, October से preparation होती है, फिर होती है. Okay.
October में you get done with the process. October में you know where you're going.
Okay.
Now that will start after the first year is done.
Okay.
Yeah, for 2.5 months.
And this internship will go for how many months?
2 to 2.5 months.
2 to 2.5 months.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So I think that's the overall CAT exam and after for you. I think मुझे तो बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छा लगा आपसे मिलके. Again, I told you right from the beginning, but also I think a lot of things that you shared is simple yet so important for everyone who's watching and preparing probably for this exam. And I loved how different examinations also helped you create different kind of mindsets for this exam. So great. I think that's all the exam stuff that we had to talk about. I have a very small section jo hum kehte hai rapid fire, where we just have some quick questions, but I know you are going to be good at it. But I have a few questions. Aapko one word mein answer bhi karna hai or one line max. Ready for it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, if you were one of the colors of the rainbow, which one would it be and why?
I'd say green, because that is a color actually for. I like that color a lot. That is it.
You just like it.
Yeah, it's
cool.
Instinctive.
If you had the option to, since you're an engineer, if you had the option to invent a new machine or something new which you think is going to be really useful, what would it be?
Useful for me, I would say, would be time traveling, because there's. I won't say that I would go into past and change a lot of few things, but future, I'm really excited about a lot of things.
Which, like, say, if I do manage to get you a time machine and I put you inside it, which country or where would you like to go and see the future of, and which year?
Yeah, maybe 100 years ahead into like again India, only because India is going to be one of the countries that will dominate the world in the future. I would like to really see that happening, especially after the UPSC Kapura part. I think
it gives you that josh.
Yeah.
Great. So if you were given an option to relive any moment of your life again, what would it be? Which one would it be, and with whom was it?
Yeah, it'll be with my sister when we were small and used to come back from the school and watch all those cartoons and everything. Yeah, exactly. So it was time where, yeah, that was something really nostalgic about it, and would like to really relive that out.
Chaliye, great. So I think that's pretty much all the quick questions that I have, and it was mainly just to pull your leg a little. But we do have something small here from the team here to celebrate the success that you've had and you are continuing to have. We hope all the successes ho aapke. You can just keep it down. Cool. So I hope you like meetha, because बहुत सारा मीठा है उसमें. You can share with your friends also in college. So that's all for today. And before we actually end this episode, I would request you to make one final message to all the aspirants who are watching you, जो शायद इस एग्जाम की तैयारी कर रहे हैं, या जेईई की तैयारी कर रहे हैं, या यूपीएससी की तैयारी कर रहे हैं, किसी भी एग्जाम की तैयारी कर रहे हैं, या स्कूल के एग्जाम की तैयारी कर रहे हैं. What's the message you want to give them?
Yeah, exams are not like having a entrance exam. It is not the end of your life. I mean, it is just an exam at the end of the day. If you want to crack it, do well, I mean, just go for it, give your 100%, but then don't let it play so much in your mind that starts affecting you so much. I mean, exams like CAT, JEE, they give you multiple attempts, right? Okay, give your 100%. You should be, at the end of the day, you should be really happy with how the amount of effort you put in, not think about the result. I know it is very difficult, but if you are able to do that, I think you'll be really, if not successful in the exam, you'll be really successful in life. And that is what we all actually aspire to be. It's not about an exam, it's about what you do with your life.
Perfect. So it's not about the exam, it's about what you do with your life. I think that's a very, very important and useful lesson for everyone. Don't let one setback in an examination bring you down or think that meri duniya khatam ho gayi. So there's always another door which opens up if one is closed. So I think I had a lot of fun aaj aapse baat karke. How was your experience? How did you like coming in, chatting with us? Kaisa tha aapka experience?
Yeah, it was really nice. I had a blast. The whole team has been really warm, coordinating with me. If I had certain requests, they accommodated. It was really kind of them, really kind of everybody here.
आपने हमारे interviews पहले भी देखे हैं?
Yeah. I always aspired to be here. I used to watch even during my UPSC days. Used to see a lot of toppers, and yeah, it's kind of a dream come true. I'd say, because sitting here, being counted among the toppers and being interviewed by you is really, really nice.
Thank you. So that's all for today. Thank you again for coming in far from Calcutta to Bangalore. But I'm sure you can get some time to visit the city too.
Yeah.
And all the very best for your future. And we hope to hear a lot more from you. So thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.